English 201, week 4, part 7. Just to keep talking about Ovid a little bit and connecting it with other kinds of stories. It's interesting that it's almost like a fairy tale in reverse. Normally in a fairy tale, um, someone like is it like in Beauty and the Beast, he's a beast and he has to transform back into a human. But here it's about a human transforming into a bug, and that's the fucking end of it. Um, there's no god you can appeal to make sense of this. There's no wizard you can go to who's going to change you back. It's just like one of these things. It's just something crazy that's happened that doesn't have that kind of it doesn't have that kind of thing. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm looking at some notes here to see what else I want to say. Okay, so let's return back to the story here. Um, I'm almost done with this section. Um, yeah, okay. Um, Now, this is a bit of comedy, where he's a giant bug and he heads over to his mother, but she's backed up and spilled the breakfast and there's coffee dripping down and he wants the coffee. So as a giant bug, he starts eating the coffee, which freaks his mother out. Um, then you get this really bonkers scene. Gregor's father sees the chief clerk's stick in his right hand. It's like a walking stick. The chief clerk had left it behind on a chair along with his hat and overcoat, picked up a large newspaper from the table and left with his left, and then used them to drive Gregor back into his room, stamping his foot at him as he went. Um, Gregor's father treats him like what would you do if you saw a bug in your house? You'd grab a newspaper and you'd smash it. Gregor's father, it's exactly what he does with his giant bug son. Um, he treats it exactly like that. And he's making hissing noises at the bug and screaming and freaking out. And interestingly, Gregor says at the bottom of page 6, there's a threat of a lethal blow to his back or head from the stick in his father's hand at any moment. That is an incredibly disturbing detail. But his father is ready to murder him. It's interesting, by the way, this is a question the story doesn't raise, but that I think about a lot, which is that it's interesting that he transforms into a bug. Everybody knows that it's him. Nobody says, oh no, this giant bug has eaten Gregor, right? Like they know it's him, even though they can't understand him when he talks. It's one of those dreamlike. It's a detail in the movie that I really like. It's kind of dreamlike and weird that like nobody's quite like they know for sure that it's him. Um, yeah, okay. And his father treats him like an actual bug. And starts stamping and sort of hissing and bringing a newspaper at him and just kind of generally attacking him. Okay, cool. Well, it sounded to Gregor as if there was now more than one father behind him. One of the interesting things to think about in this story is that Gregor's father ruined the family business. And then Gregor had to get this traveling salesman job to help his family out. But now, so that and that left Gregor's father sort of weak at home alone by himself. But now, um, Gregor's been turned into a bug, and his father comes roaring back to life. Like his father is weak when Gregor is strong, but when Gregor is weakened by being turned into his bug, Gregor's father becomes strong again. This suggests a really fucked up family dynamic. Um, in some ways, the father seems to enjoy being the head of the family once again because now he has to protect the women from Gregor being a crazy bug. Um, okay, cool. This is going really well. Well, I feel like I have roughly finished the first part. I do want to suggest some other things here. I mentioned on the first day of class about Superman and the way Superman can be a metaphor for more than one thing. And I was showing you how Superman can be a metaphor for um, immigration, but Superman can also be a metaphor for Jesus. One of the things that makes this story interesting is that Gregor can be a metaphor for being a worker in America under just being a worker under capitalism, whether it's America nowadays or Prague 110 years ago. Very similar, disturbingly similar. Got to work all the time. I'm sure you guys know people who work multiple jobs. I was a night security guard for a little while, and some of the night security guards would try to be night security guards while also driving cabs. Oh, and there's a really funny story. This isn't quite the same thing, but some of my fellow teachers have reported that they have, like, 'cause this is an asynchronous class. You're watching this on YouTube whenever you want, but some teachers have those classes where you have to be there in front of your computer at a certain time. And some of the teachers have reported students who log into Zoom to do their classes while they are driving taxi cabs around New York City. There is never a time when business cannot be done, Mr. Samsa. We must never allow it. There cannot be. Um, it's amazing, but it's sad. But I think it's fun. It's both funny and sad, just like this story is both funny and sad because it makes me laugh. There's something amazing about a BMCC student who's both driving a taxi and trying to take classes at the same time. I kind of love that, but it's also sad that that person has to, because I wish that they didn't have to go to work and they could just spend time studying and learning things instead of also having to drive a car while you do that. Um, just like this one of the things that makes this story confusing is people don't know how to feel. Is it funny or is it sad? Well, it's both. Usually movies tell you what to feel. You can tell from the music if you're supposed to be excited, if you're supposed to be sad, if you're supposed to be scared. But in a Kafka story, he doesn't tell you how to feel. That's one of the things people don't like about Kafka because they're used to movies telling them exactly how to feel. And Kafka does not do that. Um, he also doesn't tell you exactly what this is a metaphor for. He's not going to spell it out, right? You have to figure out what the bug is. The bug a metaphor for something? Well, for what? I want to suggest that it could also be a metaphor for a couple of things, and we'll talk about this more as we go. Um, but the way his family reacts, they are horrified at that his body has changed, and that he can't. They're horrified at how his body has changed. They're repulsed by him. And I've been arguing so far that this is a story about capitalism and workers, but you can see that there's, just like Superman can be a metaphor for immigration, but also a metaphor for Jesus. Um, you can see other metaphors floating around the edges of this. Is Gregor turning into a bug a little bit like telling your family that you're gay? Would they react similarly? Is Gregor turning into a bug a little bit like telling your family you're trans? They're horrified by your new body. Is Gregor turning into a bug very different from Gregor coming down with a very serious illness, like a degenerative disease that would mean he could never go to work again, and that his family would now have to take care of him? He's going to be bedridden at home like a hospital. Is Gregor? You see what you see? There's. I just want you guys to think about that. That's one thing you could talk about the discussion board this week. I've unfortunately, I should have been telling you what to do on the discussion board, but I was so busy telling you all these things you need to know, I kind of forgot about that. But these are things I would like you to think about on the discussion board this week, is to maybe consider other possibilities. It's not. I'm talking about how it's about work, but it has similarities with queer experience. It has similarities with just aging. You wake up one. What if you? How different would this story be? There's actually David Cronenberg did a movie called The Fly, really good movie, about a guy who gets turned into a bug. It is very upsetting and amazing. Jeff Goldblum, Gene Davis, 1986, great fucking movie. 86, 83, 84. Anyway, it's a good movie from the 80s. And David Cronenberg, in his introduction, points out, how different would this story be if the first sentence was, Gregor woke up one morning transformed into an 85-year-old man, and he had to have a walker, and he couldn't go to work anymore? It would be kind of similar. People would be upset with him. They're used to him providing the money for the home, and now he can't. They're used to him being a certain way, and now he's not that way, and the family rejects him. The story is, a lot of people are like, why won't Kafka just say what he means? But it's better that he doesn't, because it means that if I read the story and think it's about capitalism and workers, and you read the story and think it's about being gay, and someone else reads the story and thinks it's about being trans, and someone else reads the story and thinks it's about being struck with a very serious permanent disease, and someone else reads the story, and right, and so it's about, and someone else reads the story and thinks it's about, I don't know, something else. There's a lot of different things that this kind of metaphor works. I feel like I'm missing a couple of them. Nope, I think I got them all. Okay, I'm gonna stop this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.